Well, a lot of people have probably forgotten about that absolute loser that set a field ablaze, set a trap for heroes, firefighters, and of course, did what he did and then took the coward's way out. Well, a few weeks later, now we actually have his writings and his letter and a little bit more about who this lunatic was. And we're going to go over all that. Super quick word from this video sponsor, Beam. Very, very cool stuff. In today's world, it's increasingly difficult for people to get really good sleep and truly shut off from the nonstop news cycle to political noise, pressures at work, your cell phone, all this kind of stuff. I myself started putting my cell phone in the drawer because I'm having trouble just getting good, uninterrupted sleep. Millions of people struggle with restless nights, waking up at 2, 3 a.m. with racing thoughts, picking up their cell phones, all this kind of stuff. Well, there's been a lot of solutions out there, and Beam is an excellent, excellent one for you, and I really think you should give it a try. Some individuals, they've turned to Beam, a sleep support supplement that comes recommended by peers and trusted sources. That's why over 93% of Dream users report better sleep. It helps with faster sleep onset, more restful nights, mornings marked by greater clarity and energy. Plus, there's no grogginess, brain fog, or experiencing instead real restorative sleep, steady energy throughout the day. What's great about Beam is how clean it is. It has an evidence-based formula that contains ingredients such as magnesium, L-theanine, and many more. You see it on here. Melatonin, reishi. It's all right on the package. I highly, highly recommend you give Beam a try. Use code QUARTERING for up to 35% off at the link in the description. And I think it can make a world of difference for you. And do yourself a favor. Try it out. Let me know what you think. I think you're really going to enjoy a full night's sleep. Your body will thank you. So we have this article. Idaho sniper Russ Rowley, who took out 2 firefighters in an ambush, left behind twisted drawings of himself passing away and a goodbye letter. Oh, interesting. We finally have that now a month later. Why? Because they get to say he's basically a right-wing lunatic. They get to imply it. I don't think that that's the case, but you see, like, weapon-obsessed Idaho firefighter slayer Wes Rowley left a chilling goodbye letter to his father, along with multiple twisted drawings depicting himself passing away during his premeditated ambush on a pair of firefighters he took out in late June. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office shared the documents detailing the 20-year-old Rowley's erratic behavior and his odd patterns of speech at a press conference on Tuesday. Multiple drawings depicted crude sketches of Rowley passing away, even with a pentagram on his forehead, including one titled "Goodbye, Wes." You see the images here. Now, look, I think the overwhelming majority of people that do this are just, weirdo lunatics. I think that's pretty much implied. Whether you're a left-wing person or a right-wing person, you've got to have more than a couple of screws loose to participate in this kind of thing. Investigators also found a letter riddled with spelling inaccuracies. Well, I can't fault him for that. That Rowley wrote to his father in his vehicle at the scene at Canfield Mountain, where he intentionally set the fire and waited just a few yards away for firefighters to arrive before taking them out. "Hello, Father. I write this to you in a concerned effort that you may read this in the utmost sincerity." Now, I have more information on the father that we're going to talk about later in this video that might make a little connection. I think it connects the two in an odd way. "Tomorrow I should go into battle." It's funny that you think it's battle. Firing on unarmed, unsuspecting firefighters isn't going to battle. That's being a loser, "Tomorrow I should go into battle, and if I survive, it would be the utmost dishonor. Oh, it must, just so dishonorable. I bid thee farewell. I hope that you shall live to the fullest extent as you have thus far," Rowley wrote. I don't know exactly what's depicted here. It looks like maybe him and some sort of fire. I don't know. He wrote, "Kill this fat something. I think that's what it says. I can't read that exactly. So then he also wrote sincerely Wes Rowley, and then he drew some sort of, I don't know if these are Celtic or what's going on with these shapes. The cryptic letter echoed Rowley's posts on social media about going hunting in the hours leading up to the incident, saying going hunting. He also displayed other disturbing patterns of behavior when he was still a teenager, when often doodle swastikas and weapons in his notebooks at school, according to investigators. Just 1 month before the incident, he also applied to be a firefighter at the, I can't even pronounce that, Coeur d'Alene, I don't know, fire department, the very station that he ended up attacking. So perhaps that's really what this is. I find that most of these people have like delusions of grandeur, that they are, somehow different, better, more intelligent, or more, having a bigger impact. But really, it just comes down to these people, being cowards. Here's another drawing with what appears to be fire that says, "Run, baby, run away." I can't really read it. It'd be nice if they transcribed it. Thanks for nothing, New York Post. During the application process, though, Rowley, who had a history of unmedicated ADHD and herb use, said which he struggled to quit, quickly became agitated with the process and left frustrated. Coontenai County Sheriff's Bob Norris said he also tried to enlist in the U.S. Army 3 times, but consistently neglected to follow up on required tasks and appointments, which of course led to his disqualification. Okay, so the system works, I guess. I don't know. Many of the documents recovered during the ongoing investigation included the shared letter, and drawings are still being reviewed. On June 29th, we know what he did, and he's a loser for that. Eerily, though, here's where things get weird. Eerily, the father he lauded in his goodbye letter previously had the same issued the same threat to his own family. It's unclear when this order made. So he had basically claimed he would do this exact same thing during divorce proceedings. So the father was a lunatic. It says, did he write the letter to his father with a quill and ink bottle? Pops should be on a watch list now. Looks like the ramblings of a schizophrenic. We had a patient who would come into the ER when I was a new employee. I was just finding out why he was there. The ER doc came up behind me and said, "This is John. This is what we do," and handed me a clipboard with blank paper and pen to give him. For those who read the article, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah, if we go to the father, Wes Rowley's dad allegedly made disturbing threats. The father of Wes, and again, we usually see this ends up as the case. These kids are in bad situations with their families. They have a messy home life. They have a messy, situation that they're dealing with. And ultimately it screws them up. They see what other people have done. They want fame. They want clout, and they do maybe the dumbest thing imaginable. But if you look at the father of Wes Rowley, once allegedly threatened to start a fire and take out his family with a sniper, eerily echoing the exact crime his son carried out. The chilling revelation came as it surfaced that Rowley, who took out firefighters and critically injured a third, had hoped to become a smoke eater himself, his grandpa said. He wanted to be a fireman. He was doing tree work. He wanted to be a fireman in the forest, the grandfather Dale Rowley told CNN. As far as I knew, he was actually pursuing it. Now, Rowley, who previously lived in Arizona and ran track in high school, obviously took the coward's way out. This comes a decade after Rowley's mother wrote in 2015 court papers that the father had issued the exact same threatened to sit outside my house and burn my house down and take me out as I ran out. Rowley's granddad said he had no reason to suspect that his grandson would be involved in anything like this, including because he wanted to be a fireman. It wasn't like he was a loner, the grandfather said, explained that Rory had supportive family and friends. He said the pair used to speak once a week, and that they hadn't talked in about a month because Rowley lost his phone. About a decade earlier, of course, when Rowley was a 10-year-old, There was a protective order barring his father from contacting the family, and that was granted to his mother. It seems like, Rolly's father told a CNN reporter outside his home in Priest River, Idaho, that he wasn't even close with his son and hadn't seen him since family gatherings last year. He didn't respond to follow-up phone calls about the decade-old allegations and the court documents. The suspect's mother also didn't answer the phone. It seems like, odd, apparently, if the dad lived in Priest River, which is 45 minutes to an hour away from Coeur d'Alene, hadn't seen him for a year. Where did Wes live? He had only been in Idaho for a year. During that time, he lived out of his car, went in with a roommate in Sandpoint. That didn't seem to work out well. Apparently, he was back to living in his car when the incident happened. So this guy was living in his car. He was homeless. He had a terrible family life. And, just another, a prototypical example that we should probably get a little bit better about identifying and helping out people, not to humanize this person because he's burning in hell, I hope. But, this guy was just another lunatic. When they couldn't politicize it, the story went away. But again, we have yet another very obvious video or topic about mental health that needs to be addressed. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on the video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below. And we'll talk to you again real soon.